Oh shit, we recording? I mean, oh man, we recording? Psych, you can't see.
A few moments.
Back, spiritual science. Welcome back, babes. It's your girl Faith. I look super exhausted because I did like 6 heads. I have one more to do in the morning before I go home. I'm in Ohio right now, but yeah, it's been a transformative experience. Like, life in general this past year has been such a transformative experience. It's like the things I experience, that word, I keep saying it, but that's the only way to describe it. I can't really point out the negatives without pointing out the positives as well. Because everything that God brings correction to, He brings healing. So it doesn't mean like it doesn't hurt. It hurt. But like, I'm learning to really let go. I think I'm really learning how to just let go. And it's like, it feels good. I kid you not. Because the stress I was going through last year literally almost killed me. At 22, my doctor said if I'm not careful, I'll have high blood pressure. At 22, fresh. I said, you people will not come here and kill me. God forbid. Seriously, man. It was hard, bro. I don't really talk about... I don't get that emotional on here with y'all anymore because I feel like it was hard for me to do that. Like, when I used to come on here on my old page before, I lost that jump, it was like, yeah, I knew I was getting judged, but I didn't really care about the judging part. It just felt like my vulnerability was just going to waste, Like, I was out here trying to be vulnerable, open up, and show different sides of me. And it just didn't feel like it was always received in the way that I wanted to. And it's like, I'm generally a very passionate person. Y'all know me, I'm on the spectrum, so it's like, when I get excited about certain things, it's just like I go on and on and on and on. And I don't mean to like talk people's ear off and stuff like that. It's just that like I'm just so passionate about things that bring me joy and like knowledge, really. Because I feel like a lot of the problems that we have in our society today is just like ignorance based. It's just people saying things that they don't realize hurt other people, and just for it to hurt those people, and then those people say things intentionally to hurt back because their ego says eye for an eye. And it's like hard because we try to separate our egos from ourselves, when in reality we are all like born with a certain level of duality. Because we have free will, we have free capability to do what is deemed by God, because we be knowing intuitively, we be knowing. But it's like what are you willing to sacrifice? Like, what parts of your ego are you willing to sacrifice in order to learn how to utilize it? Because your ego can be a very powerful tool. Everything that comes with you for a reason. Certain part or aspects of ourselves we may not favor all the time protect us. Without those parts, like, a lot of things could potentially happen or could not potentially happen, God forbid. But the whole point is that, like, without really just taking a second to look inward, it's hard to see which doors we're supposed to be closing, which doors we're supposed to be opening, and which tools we're supposed to be using to open those doors. So it's like, going back to that reference, is like, what are your tools? What helps you feel? I wish I could actually put that, right here. What are your tools? But, like, it's just like, what helps you? What do you feel? Even the things that you feel hinder you, why do they hinder you? If it's something that is like shadow work, like work on your darker self, like, or the things, or the self that has been impacted by, the things that you've been through. Your whole self has, obviously, but different parts of your psyche hold different emotions, different feelings, different memories. So it's like, what triggers you? Why does it trigger you? You know what I'm saying? Like, if someone were to, like, do some, not necessarily shady shit, but something that throws you off, and, like, your initial response naturally is to be thrown off, right? But if it surpasses that and it gets to a point where, like, you're genuinely angry about something that you know in yourself is so small, what's behind that? And why does it get such a visceral reaction out of you? Could that escalate? Could that turn into something even worse if I felt like that trigger was expanded upon? These are the questions we don't really ask ourselves a lot. I feel like a lot of times we get so caught up in the day-to-day, mess, day-to-day work, day-to-day paycheck to paycheck, that we don't really think about ourselves, who we're becoming. Because a lot of times we get so caught up in the future and who we want to be, we don't see how we're changing in our present. Even, like, a common example, my weight. Like, obviously I have certain health issues, so I'm not taking the best care of my gut. I blowed up, and I just have, like, all types of health sensitivities that are just really frustrating. So when I'm not, like, doing everything that I'm supposed to a T, I just don't feel good. I don't feel like myself. I feel, and that's exactly how I feel right now. I wasn't really peeping it, so I really looked in the mirror today, and yeah, like, my body's changing a lot right now. That's why it's so important, even now more than ever, that I take very good care of myself. Because as my body changes, I need to know what's a normal change for me personally and what doesn't feel normal. Because if I'm not paying attention to my body, I'm not hearing when my body is telling me something's going on, something's wrong, something's awry. So, like, not even just your physical body, but, like, your emotional body. How are you taking care of your feelings? Those triggers, like I said. Like, are you taking the time? Ask yourself this week, like, are you taking the time to deep, like, sometimes a lot of the issues that, or the things that we don't like, stem from things that we've experienced growing up. Because as kids, naturally we're sponges. And honestly, until recently, especially with my relationships, I never truly deeped how much, like, my upbringing, my familial parental relationships really impacted, like, my choices and my decisions when it comes to friends, boyfriends, all that. Like, especially me being someone, once again, because I feel like I say this often a lot, but it's just like, it's only because I really look back to ignorance. A lot of people aren't ignorant on purpose. Like, I'm sure no one, I mean, it depends. Some people might just like being a dickhead, but generally, like, people aren't just ignorant because they want to be. It's just because they weren't privy to certain information that, not, don't get me wrong, now we have the internet, no one really has an excuse for it, but realistically, you never know. People worry about their own lives, especially in the society that we live in today. It's like everybody's so separated. It's hard for us to really bind together to create opportunities for one another when that's how it's really supposed to be. And that this week also taught me that I feel like I was closing out like a final chapter of my old life. I can feel my life changing right before my eyes. And it's crazy because it's just like, I think low-key or high-key, I've been definitely making like just little decisions to kind of self-sabotage. And because I know what's for me will never miss me, but when you make stupid decisions, you get stupid rewards. So it's like sometimes God will postpone the things that we want and the things that we ask for simply because like we're not acting right. So my main focus lately has been like to focus on making the next best move, especially when it comes to my relationships and with my family and new relationships that are blossoming in my life. It's like I'm learning how important privacy is and how now that I'm living in a waking world, I have to pay way more attention to detail in order to continue to have a life of ease, because I can naturally attract everything that I desire because God has already called it over my life. These are blessings that have been on my name since birth because I know what my purpose is and I know what is needed for that purpose. So blessings are not just blessings, they're tools. That's why I go back to that. What tools has God given you in order to figure out how to move around in the world? Just because your toolbox may look different from someone else's doesn't mean it's not just as efficient. It's maybe even more so efficient because it's customized to you. And when I say that, I mean, don't trip about shit you see other people have and what they don't have. Like, especially when it comes to social media. Now that we live in the age of content creators, it's like, bruh, folks, it's work. This shit for me is work. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love nice things. I love enjoyment. Like, and I work hard as fuck to be able to give myself everything that I get. Because y'all be trying to play on my top. Like, everything I have, me. Fool, stop playing with me. Me or family. Real shit. And I'll be honest with that shit because I've been really blessed. Like, God's really blessed my family over the years as we've really chosen to grow and change, you know, and keep Him in our hearts. It's like He's really blessed my family in different ways. And it's a beautiful thing because now I don't have to worry about them the way I did growing up. Because I always felt like I had to parent my entire family. And not in the way like to demean them or anything. It's just because I was able to assimilate so quickly to this country because I came here when I was really young. So it was like I was able to kind of guide everybody else in the way that things work here. So it was like a lot felt like it was rested on my shoulders. And to be fair, like a lot of the pressure I didn't deserve. But it's just everything happens the way that's supposed to for me to learn what I'm supposed to. So like that's why I really don't trip. Because now, even though I had to go through those harsh lessons, I got a new tool. I got a new tool for my toolbox. And now that I know how to use that tool when I come to similar situations, I get things done quicker. Because realistically, like, that's why I say, like, you can't trip about the things that happen to you, because literally, don't get me wrong, you don't always have to learn the hard way. You don't always have to be a smart ass. You dig? But definitely certain situations, like, are just not preventable. Sometimes just because of where you have chosen to be at that point in your life. Like, when people say God has free will, but things are predestined, it's confusing. But when you really look at it from the perspective of, okay, so because I have more than one option, that means there must be more than one reality. So whatever option I choose is that predestined reality. Because for every action, there is a reaction. So when it comes to that, it's like you can't think of things separately. That's why duality is so important. But it's like you have to stay focused. You have to stay focused on your goal. You have to stay focused on your mission, but you have to find what your mission is. You have to find what your calling is. You have to understand, like, your life is not just something that just happened to exist one day. Just like there's so many things in your life you can't explain how they line up so perfectly. It's because God is a very detailed God. And when you really just start to look at your life and start to see certain patterns, it helps you to realize what God's been preparing you for the whole time and you didn't even notice. Because if you had known that you're being prepared for something, you might have ran away from your purpose. And certain things just can't happen that way. As I said, God is a detailed God, so you have free will, but things also must happen as they will. However long you prolong that process is up to you. I'm telling you, because one way or another, you're gonna learn. But it's not something to be fearful of, something to be scary of, nothing like that. It's just that in order for certain chapters to be closed and a period, little dot to be put on that jump, sometimes you just have to finish writing parts of that story. And sometimes when we think that the story's up, God throws another curveball, another plot twist. So just be patient. And when that door is supposed to close, be ready to close it. All that time you're asking for, praying for it to be closed, for new things, be ready to close it. Because you don't want to lose everything that you ever wanted for the sake of holding on to a life that you're not living anymore. But you know the vibes, y'all. It's all love, it's all sweetness. We all growing, we all trying to get it out the way that we know best. So just stay focused, stay glued, keep your eyes on yourself and your future, bruh, and the things that you feel called to, and trust yourself above all. Trust God and trust yourself, because I promise you all the answers, you have them. You just have to learn how to listen, how to really, truly listen and make decisions not from just an emotional standpoint, but find duality within your light, your darkness, your emotions, and your mind. Find balance, and you'll find your answers. I rocks with y'all. I love y'all. Stay blessed, and we back.